Okay, in this video, we're going to turn it up a little bit. We're going to be working on data transformations. In Excel, you might consider this to be pivoting or unpivoting values. So they're easier to work with, maybe for some data prep, but actually, usually you do this because you want to share this with someone. But in order to do this, we're also going to have to do a little bit of data prep ourselves to get ourselves to the necessary steps. So in this video, we're going to be calling on all the skills we've built upon in the previous 4 or 5 videos. Okay, let's get stuck in. So again, I'm going to open the sample flow. I connect this because I know everyone has this in their version of Tableau Prep. One thing to be aware of, if you're using an older version of Tableau Prep, you might not see some of the features that I'm working with, but everything I'm covering should be available to you. And if it's not, just check the release notes and grab a newer version of Tableau Prep. I'm actually using Tableau Prep 2019.4.1. This is not the latest version. 2020.1 is actually the latest version. So this should hopefully help with that. Okay, so what I want you to do in this particular step is just to delete everything up until this clean step. We're going to keep the clean step as is, because what I'd like to do is add a little bit more value to this flow by creating our own steps. Then we're going to pivot this data in a much, much easier way. Okay, now the tool that we're going to be working with is actually this pivot tool. And you can see that it has this single icon here that suggests that you can turn a column into a row. But it actually also has the ability to do the opposite, to turn a row into a column. So everything is sort of under that one icon, if that makes sense. But in order to do that, we need to do some data prep first. We need to have a look at our data and see what we'd like to do. And I'm going to add a step rather than adding additional calculations into this clean step to make it easy to see what we've done versus what was already in the flow. So I'm going to click on the add step option and I'm going to zoom back out. Okay. So we have a clean list of changes here in our changes pane. I'm going to keep that open so we can see what's going on. Okay. Now what I'd like to do is I'd like to pivot the values. Okay. So that I build a table where I have the dates going across the top. Let's assume that I want to create a very simple table that I send to some colleagues that has the categories on the left-hand side and then the years across the top. Okay, and I'd like this broken down by category and subcategory. Okay, in order to do this, I need to do a little bit of data cleansing here because I need to remove a whole bunch of items in this table. I have quite a few items that I don't need for that very simple table. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this pane here on the right-hand side. And what you can actually do is you can actually remove fields that you don't need. So I need the year of sale, but I don't need the whether it was returned or not. And notice as I remove these, you get this sort of change happening here on the left. I don't need the days to ship. And unfortunately, it adds them one by one. So this is going to get very, very long, very, very quickly. So don't panic if this is moving too fast. I'll just go ahead and remove quite a few of these. Now, be careful because I want to keep the category. So let's say I made a mistake and I remove that and I carry on and I keep going. Well, if I want to bring the categories back, I can just delete that one single step and it will pop back there. So it's a really non-destructive way of working with your data. It's really flexible and you can carry on and sort of correct mistakes. As I say, you can fail fast. So I'm just going to keep the date because I might need that in some of my analysis. And the key thing to also bear in mind here is that you need to be very comfortable with the row level data. Okay. In business intelligence, this is typically called the grain of your data. And if you look at this data set, you might think that it captures orders from a particular store. But in fact, the grain of the data is at the product level. Actually, each order will have multiple products, and this data set actually tells me about which products were ordered. It's not just about orders. So you have to understand that when you're working with the data. But in this case, it's okay because we're going to aggregate some of the information. And I'm going to remove profit. I'm going to keep profit and quantity. And I probably want to remove region. I don't think I need that. I do need subcategory. I do need sales. I think I can go ahead and just delete everything else. Okay. Now, the interesting thing here is when you build a prep flow, you kind of build it as you go along, right? And so you will build this one way and then find another way of doing this. So whilst I'm building this, I just want you to think, as I do this particular step here, what is the other way I could have achieved this exact same operation? And if you can do that whilst we're building, and then when I show you the other way you could have done this, you'll start to see how you can use Tableau Prep to work in a flexible manner, depending on what you're trying to do. Okay, so I think I have all the fields that I need here: year of sale, category, order date, and subcategory. So let's go back to the summary view. I just have 4 columns. Okay, now I still have 16,000 rows. I see that here in the top left hand side, and I now have just 5 fields. So that just gives me a little bit of context of what's going on. Now, the key thing to understand is here that the year is a number. I think it's a number, whole number. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn it into a string. Okay, I just want it to work as text. The reason is I'm actually going to be exporting this to Excel, so I have to kind of think in the backward way of Excel, and I'm actually going to make these text items across the top of my table. And on the left-hand side, I said I wanted the category and subcategory, so let me put those together. And the value that I'd like in that table is the sales, okay? So because I've already got a grouping field here for each of the years, I don't need to do anything particular with the order date. But let's assume I didn't have this year of sale. What I could do is I could click on this order date, create a calculated field, and one of the things I can do in the date functions is return the date part. So if I double click that, and then I'll just zoom in here so you can see what I'm doing. I'll take that with me here and I'll paste it in there. And the date part that I'm interested in is the year. I could just type in year, put a comma in there. That's a valid calculation. And then what I'll do is I'll just type in year. And because I want it as a string, I can wrap it in the str function, and that will return whatever that integer is as a string. And I'll just call this year manual, so it's easy to see what's what. Hit apply and zoom back out, click save, and you can see that the manual version is identical to the one that's there, okay? This is a calculated field, whereas this was just the field that was in my data set already. So those are the 2 ways you could have arrived at the same conclusion. But having created that, we're gonna sadly get rid of our wonderful work and remove it. Okay, so I'm also gonna remove this date because we've established that I don't need it. And now I just have the 4 columns and values that I need, okay? So we've still got 16,000 rows. But one of the advantages is when we pivot data, we kind of need to make sure that everything works the way it should. If I pivot 16,000 rows, and I don't necessarily have the right level of detail, then some aggregation has to take place, right? Those rows have to go somewhere. So what I tend to do with pivoting, I always do this thing, maybe it's a bad habit, but I can't always foresee what's going to happen because the pivot can sometimes find data sets and nulls and sort of weird characters that kind of break the pivot. So I always try and just do a bit of trial and error first. So I'll bring the pivot in. And then it's asking, well, what pivot fields would you like to pivot? Well, the thing I'd like to pivot is the year, okay? So if I do that, you can see that the pivot name is year of sales and the pivot value is year of sales, okay? But in this particular case, this isn't quite working the way I want it to. This view is not doing exactly what I wanted. If I just go back one step and I just look at this, I already had year of sales in a column. So this pivoting this column to rows is actually creating 2 columns to do the job of 1, which is not quite the right thing. What I need to actually do is pivot it the other way. Okay, so now I'm going to drag the year of sale back in here and look how the outcome is different. Okay. I now have the same year of sale item, okay? But this is not finished yet because I haven't given it a field to aggregate. So the field to aggregate for new columns is going to be the sales. Yeah, so let's just drag that in to here. And now you can see that this is working the way it should do. The years have gone across the top. The category is on the right-hand side. I can correct that very simply by just bringing those here to the left-hand side. Be careful you don't drag that too far to the left and off the canvas. And now we've pivoted the information in a very sort of simple to see way. And now you can hopefully start to see the format that we needed. So you got to be really careful. Whenever you pivot, eventually certain rows are going to get aggregated. So the pivot tool is also secretly an aggregation tool. And the aggregation here can be defined much like our aggregation options that we saw in the past. Okay, those are also available to you here. Now, earlier on, I said to think about another way of doing this that would essentially arrive at the same result. Okay, so what I'm going to do for the first time, I'm going to actually create a branch in this step. So I'm going to click on this plus icon and create a branch. And this is going to create a new step just above. Now, ironically, I don't need a new sort of step. What I'd actually like to do is add a new aggregation step, and that will create a branch as well, and it will allow me to sort of add this in here. Now, if I look back at my data set as it came in before, you'll notice that I actually did a bunch of removal of columns, right? And interestingly, here with the aggregation, I've just gone right into it. So what I needed to do is I can search for the year column here. I can bring the year of sales and I'm going to group it by the year of sales. Then I'm going to bring my category into the group, subcategory into the group. And then the last thing I'm going to bring across is the sales. Okay. So what this does is in one step, it actually does everything we did in the top step, because by virtue of being the aggregation tool, anything I don't bring in is automatically left out. And only the stuff I bring in is actually going to affect the aggregation. So whereas before I went through and removed all of these fields, you can see them listed here. I didn't actually need to do that. The faster way would have been to use the aggregation tool to do this. Okay. And then what I think I can do, I'm pretty confident I can do this, is I can actually copy this top step here and paste it just below. Now, it's a bit weird in prep when you paste. It pastes it all the way over here on the left at the moment. So I hope that's a bug that will get fixed. And to then connect these two, I'm going to zoom in so you can see what happens here. I can just drag this aggregation and you'll see that when I hover over these items, you get the new sort of capabilities that you can see. So I just want to add this aggregation to this particular pivot. And when I do that, it creates a step. And so if I zoom out, what I expect to see is that this top pivot and this bottom pivot have exactly the same outcome. Okay. If I click on that, I get category, subcategory, and then the years. If I click on the bottom, there you go. I get exactly the same thing. So I've achieved the same result once with an aggregation tool and the other time without. And hopefully you start to see how data prep in Tableau Prep starts to become very flexible. There's multiple ways you can do the same thing. Now, the key thing to understand here is that just because you've done a transformation one way doesn't mean you can't do it the other way. So let's say I'd like to correct this. Let's say actually, rather than deleting this, I'd like to unpivot this data. Well, notice here that the icon changes to show you which way you're pivoting, okay? So this one has one column going to 2, whereas this has 2 going to 2, okay? So this is really important to understand. Tableau is constantly communicating with you what's actually going on. And for this particular setup, what I need to do is simply drag all the columns that I'd like to pivot into one column, okay? So in this case, I'm going to select 2015, go all the way down to 2018, drag it onto the pivoted fields. You'll see the summary view change. Then what I need to do is rename these because it doesn't know what to name these when the pivot is done, okay? And then here I can just call this sales. And so we're back to square one. We're back to the exact same output that we had here, okay? So hopefully that's been a good introduction into the pivot and unpivoting tools. I've also shown you ways you can do transformations without necessarily using things like the aggregation tools. And it's also really important to understand that when you're pivoting, you can actually inadvertently aggregate the data, and you need to be aware of how those aggregations are going to work. So it's just something to bear in mind, okay? Now, just as before, you can see here that there's a little change that's been made. So I get to see an icon here. I renamed the 2 fields. That's why this icon's a little bit smaller. And those changes live here in the changes pane. So just like I've done in the previous videos, all those changes are consistently being displayed to you throughout the flow, okay? That's pretty much it for transformations and pivots. You can obviously do way more advanced transformations with a combination of different skill sets and tools, but I just wanted to show that one as a basic introduction as to how that works here in Tableau Prep. It's the same interface you're starting to see again and again and again, the same sort of mechanics again and again, and the same visual cues each time. Okay, that's it. If you've enjoyed the video, hit subscribe. Otherwise, drop a comment below. Let me know the kind of content you'd like to see, and I'll catch you in the next video where we'll talk about joins/VLOOKUPs. All right.